Right, what's up everyone, and welcome back, finally, to an SBL recap. I know, I've been slacking on these, I apologize for that, stuff's been going on in real life, my voice has been in and out, yada yada yada, excuses, but I'm back finally with the Round 5 recap for Season 1 of the SBL. And of course I have somebody with me again today, joining me tonight, well, we recorded it at night, but joining me today is Zappe.
Hey guys, I'm Zappe, otherwise known as this Trappy Dracos on YouTube.
Yep. Alright, round 5. Round 5 was an interesting one, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely a lot of elongated matches, I think. As kind of an illusion to it, but yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's accurate. But before we get on to the matches and transactions, I have to make an announcement about the SBL. Due to a kind of, I guess, altercation within the SBL, long story short, because I don't want to explain it to you guys, that would just take up too much of your time, Patina and the Miami Manapees have officially been disqualified for the remainder of the SBL season. And with this disqualification, his entire record was released, his team was made free agents, all their records were erased, and basically it's like he was never in the league, basically. So from here on out, you're pretty much only gonna see 4 matches per video, except for round 7 because that was his actual bye week. So you'll actually see 5 matches. So yeah, but before we get on to the matches, there were quite a few transactions going on. Beginning with Iron and the GERMANIA NIDOKINGS trading his Mega out as he swapped out Mega Steelix for Mega Beedrill.
Oh man, that is probably one of the most interesting switches because Mega Beedrill can be very threatening if you aren't prepared for it.
Absolutely.
And it packs a humongous punch. Even to things that it may not hit super effectively, it'll still pack a wallop.
Because of that adaptability though.
Oh man. It's the Mega I was hoping for with Beedrill, but you know.
Yeah, I gotcha. And to be honest, I kind of questioned it when it happened because Mega Steelix is really bulky and Mega Beedrill is the exact opposite.
I guess Mega Steelix might not have been working up to the potential that he was hoping it to be, and he kind of wanted to switch for something that he knew would be able to perform well given if he plays around it correctly.
I can agree with that. I mean, Mega Beedrill hits fast, it hits hard.
It's nothing to mess with, ever.
That is the truth. Alright, and moving on to our second transaction, it was actually our first trade between teams, and it was actually between Iron and myself. As I traded Iron, Roserade, and Chinchino in exchange for his Blastoise and Golurk. Now, I will explain my logic for this. What I wanted in Blastoise, when I acquired it from Iron, was a Rapid Spinner. Because, you know, spinners are always nice to have, and my only hazard removal possibilities at that time were Latios and Skuntank and Gliscor if I wanted to run not Poison Heal, which may or may not actually come into play in the future. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Ooh. And with Golurk, what attracted me to Golurk was basically its Ghost typing. I know it shares the Ground typing with Gliscor, but having a Ghost in general, a spin blocker in a sense, well, I always just feel better having a Ghost in general. Now, in general, what I'm losing with Roserade and Chinchino being gone, in Roserade I'm losing my Grass type, and Roserade's a pretty good Grass type, I'll just say that right now. I would have brought it to my round 5 match had I not traded. And I would have brought Chinchino too, but it's the best. And in Chinchino, I just lose a fast, normal type attacker.
Yeah. I mean, Roserade can definitely play a bunch of different roles, as you can play it as like a special attacker. You could be a setup hazard with Leech Seed, that sort of thing, where you can surprise your opponent depending on what kind of set you go. And Cinccino is always a good thing to have just because, yeah, like you said, it's a good, fast, normal type attacker, and you know, of course, Skill Link. It's interesting.
Yep. I'm just hoping that the trade ends up working out for the both of us.
Yep.
Alright. And moving on to our next transaction, It came from Omega and the Philadelphia Tyranitars, as he chose to swap out Venusaur in exchange for Gardevoir.
What do you think about this? Because I have kind of mixed feelings about it, just because Venusaur and Gardevoir both are kind of like defensive, more specially defensive orientated, but Gardevoir definitely, I think, can pack more of a punch than Venusaur can, but I don't know. It's an interesting trade to say the least. What do you think?
I think in a way that I think this was actually a pretty good trade for Omega, because I don't remember, but I don't remember if he had a fairy at this point or not. But Gardevoir gets a fairy now. And honestly, I think Gardevoir can function in like more necessary roles to his team than Venusaur did. Because one thing he was looking for when he acquired Gardevoir was something that could wish, and Gardevoir does learn wish. And Gardevoir has the stats to make a Choice Scarf set work. It can make any Choice set work except for Choice Band, obviously.
Yeah.
But honestly, I do think it was a good trade for Omega. What he loses in Venusaur is another grass type. Like, both his transactions so far have been grass types going out and psychic types going in, actually. I mean, what Venusaur can do is, I think it gets aromatherapy, don't quote me on that. It gets Leech Seed, and it can hit hard on the physical and the special side, especially if it carries growth.
Yep.
But hey, I think Gardevoir will work out for him.
Oh, yeah. Gardevoir is definitely... It's a Pokemon I've actually started to like a lot more, just because of the nice bulk of it. The fairy typing is always nice. And of course, Wish. Wish can change a lot of matches drastically if played correctly.
Definitely. Alright, and with that, we'll move on to our last transaction of the round. And it came from Crimson and the Arizona Arcanines, as he swapped out Luxray for Bronzong.
This one, I definitely think it's better, because Luxray, it's pretty much just an all-out attacker, and that's all it can really be. With Bronzong, you can definitely have it be a very nice wall. It doesn't really ever need speed, so Paralysis could be very handy if you make a prediction with like Thunder Wave or something like that, because it'll just help benefit Bronzong even more with Gyro Ball. And of course, with dual screens, Gyro Ball, you got a monster that could be on the field and just tanking your hits for days, especially given its two abilities. Ooh.
Yeah. And I honestly think this was a really good transaction for Crimson, because Luxray was just completely redundant on his roster with the Mega Manectric, and Bronzong gave him two things that he didn't have before: a Steel type and a Psychic type. And a third thing, reasonable bulk.
Exactly. I mean, of course, there's stuff that obviously fits Bronzong, or there's stuff that fits Luxray's role better than it does, and of course, like you said, having two electric types is kind of redundant, especially a Mega that's very strong if set up.
Right. I mean, they can function differently, because Luxray is typically more physically oriented, and Mega Manectric especially. But honestly, Mega Manectric's just a better Pokemon in general for competitive play.
Yeah, and especially with Luxray, you pretty much have to run a Guts set, at least in terms of ability, Guts, but maybe Intimidate can come into play here or there just to lower like the attack of something, but mostly it's going to be Guts.
Indeed. Alright, and with those transactions out of the way, we'll go ahead and get to the matches now. And Zaps was actually first, as he and the San Diego Electivires took on Lux and the California Volbeats. To the match, Lux brought Cloyster, Haxorus, Mismagius, Mega Tyranitar, Honchkrow, and Zaptooth, while Zap brought Scizor, Salamence, Frostlass, Ampharos, Melodic, and Heatran. Zap, say what you will about this one.
Alright, so this battle was kind of interesting, as my Scizor played an extremely vital role in this match. Right off the bat, it got paralyzed, but I got to set up a Swords Dance, and this kind of got really good momentum, because I already had the Xatu at extremely low health, and that Heat Wave missing was actually kind of really crucial, because it could have knocked me straight out and gotten rid of Scizor in general, but pretty much Scizor was a catalyst throughout the entire match, and I think you definitely agree, just because it provided such a threat, because even without Sword Stance, Scizor can be very, very powerful and just kind of wreck things, but eventually I got roared out, and then my Salamence unfortunately died to a crit Sucker Punch, which was really bad.
Yeah, going back to what you said about the Heat Wave miss though, Lux's battles always seem to have some sort of hacks in them, and I don't know why.
Yeah, very true. And then eventually I kind of just killed off, I think it was her Haxorus who switched into it because she didn't want her Honchkrow to die. I think she knew she was going to need it for the Scizor, and eventually, after I got a Toxic up on her Mega Tyranitars, she just killed me off. And then, the Honchkrow predictions with my Scizor were amazing. So, I was trying to get, I believe it was, a Sword Stance off, and she Brave Bird me to low health. After that, I predicted her going for a Sucker Punch, and I went for the Roost to get some HP. Now, after that, she said that she was trying to predict me going for another greedy Roost, and I went for the Bullet Punch and didn't get paralyzed, and I had the +2 attack, and I got the kill on that. And pretty much, it just kind of led to Lux being cornered, and pretty much, even with the setup on her Cloyster, she couldn't do anything to Scizor, so Scizor took that out, and then unfortunately, right at the end of the battle, Scizor finally got a paralysis kick in, and the Stone Edge from the Mega Tyranitar got me. But then Milotic's threat with the Scald plus the toxic damage going, and I kind of just ended the match from there. But I think you'd agree, Scizor kind of really took over the battle in multiple different occasions.
Yeah, he really did. The fact that he didn't get Parahacks till the very end, that was just impressive.
I was reacting so differently in real life because I'm like, you've really got to be kidding me. I really thought at one point, because my luck tends to suck with pretty much anything in the game,
Yep.
when it comes to hacks or something like that, and I have like off days, of course, and everything. But Scizor really carried me this match, and I'm not afraid to say that at all.
Yep. Playing around Hexa, that is the game we play.
Pretty much. What do you think about this match?
I mean, honestly, I felt like your predictions were just spot on. Like, I've noticed in your wins this season, you've just been predicting, like, very well.
I don't know what it is. Just, I play... It's just really weird. I don't know what it is, but yeah, just when I feel on point, I can really get rolling, and I can just get the exact kind of luck I need, and I can just roll.
Yeah, it's a good trait to have, especially in Pokemon, where RNGesus exists.
RNGesus, praise the Lord.
Yep, and that battle ended 3-0 to Zap.
Yep. And
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was just gonna add in real quick that I didn't even actually have to use my Heatran, I think, in this battle at all. Did I even use Frostlass either? I don't think I did.
I don't think you did. I think you just used Scizor, Salamence, Amphi, and Melodic.
Yeah, that was it. I'm really surprised by that, but of course, both of the two would have basically threatened the Mega Tyranitar anyways.
This is true. Alright, now we'll move on to the next match, which is actually my match. It was a very interesting one, I'll say that. It was myself and Diancie United versus Rock and Liepard City. Ooh, the battle of the cousins. Alright, to the match, Rock brought Jirachi, Miltank, Tornadus, Mega Sceptile, Rotom Wash, and Clawitzer, and I brought Galvantula, Mega Aggron, my newly acquired Blastoise, Victini, Suicune, and my newly acquired Golem. Now, I will say first off that the first thing I noticed about Rock's team is that he did not bring Terrakion. That was just the big thing I noticed right off the bat, because I typically tend to struggle with Terrakion when I'm battling it, and I over-prepped for it. I will admit that right now.
Yeah, I mean, Terrakion, most of the time I hear about either Choice Band or Choice Scarf Terrakion, which just packs a wall up, and it can be very scary to face because it gets a wide variety of moves, and of course, it being a powerful monster, you always want to try and have something to be against it, because if you don't, it could really turn the tides of a battle.
Right. And I will say right now that my original strategy going into this was to get up my hazard as quickly as possible, taking advantage of the fact that Rock has no form of hazard removal at all.
Yeah.
So I just let up with Galvantula, got out the sticky webs, let him... I don't remember what he did. I think he let... What did he lead off with? Rotom, I think?
Yeah, he led off with Rotom, and he kind of Volt Switched right out.
Yeah, into the Yeah, I remember now. He switched on to the Mega Sceptile, and I think I was carrying Volt Switch on Galvantula, but knowing Mega Sceptile has Lightning Rod, I was like, nope, I'm just gonna hard switch out into what did I switch it to? Victini, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I figured out that he was actually running physical Mega Sceptile, which I thought was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I like seeing unique sets on Pokemon.
Absolutely. For most of the beginning of the match, it was just kind of back and forth, trying to predict switches and all that fun stuff. Until eventually, I switched in my Golurk on his Miltank, who was not running Scrappy, which I was very happy about because he went for Body Slam and it didn't affect me. And then after some failed predictions on both ends, actually, he got a critical hit with, I think, Earthquake, and my Golurk got a critical hit with Drain Punch, bringing Miltank really low, and then his Miltank got off a Nook Drink, but my Golurk was able to finish it off with a Drain Punch. And really, Golurk was kind of my main momentum gainer in this match. Like, once I got Golurk in, he was able to kill off the Miltank and the Tornadus, and kind of shift the momentum in my favor.
Yeah. I mean, Golurk, the thing you have to really pay attention to is, yeah, I saw you were carrying the Assault Vest because the knockoff kind of showed it, but even with the Assault Vest, with the Iron Fist ability, you were just firing off punches like no tomorrow, and it deals a lot more damage than people can really think about. Like, I think he kind of misplayed maybe a little with the Miltank and kept it in with the Milk Drink. Like, even with the critical hit, Iron Fist Drain Punch is nothing to be belittling at all.
Absolutely. And then eventually I was able to get up my rocks with Mega Aggron, which ended up getting 2 kills at the very end. I will just say that right now. and Mega Aggron has just been my backbone this entire season. I just wish stuff like Blastoise, Victini, and Suicune could have done a little bit more. Suicune was really just there at the end just to say hi to things.
Hi, I'm here.
Yep, and the infamous Battle of the Cousins ended in a 4-0 to me.
Yeah, I mean, your team that you built for Rock's team was definitely a very strong team in the fact that, like, you have your Galvantula leading with the Sticky Web, and then you have a couple tanks that can also really pack a punch with Mega Aggron and your Suicune, and then your Golurk, like you said, definitely was the MVP of this match and went off a lot, and it was kind of just like my Scizor, where you put it in the right points, and yeah, it did die eventually, but it put in its work that really helped you in the end.
Right. And I think I was also running Choice Banded Victini.
Yeah, because Choice Banded Victini hurts. That V-Create.
Yep, Choice Banded V-Create. Ripping everything.
Yeah, God bless.
Yep. Alright, and enough about my match. We'll move on to our third match, which was ACAT and the Columbus Chatots versus Omega and the Philadelphia Tyranitars. To the match, ACAT brought Skarmory, Slowbro, Amoonguss, Mega Sableye, Megazard X, and Umbreon, while Omega brought Tyranitar, Mandibuzz, Mega Blastoise, Rotom-O, Desmox, and Mew.
Kind of an interesting team for each one of them, and of course the cat, as everyone knows, he has a very stally, very tanky team, which is nothing to belittle at all, just because tanks are always sort of a good thing, as kind of proven with the Sprider tournaments, but in terms of this, tanks just, it creates stalling matches and really has to make your opponent think on how you're going to approach things, because you can't just go with raw power, because otherwise, you know, the tanks will kind of just sit there and do their job.
Yeah, definitely. ACAT knows his stall, too.
Yeah.
Yep. The beginning of the match was really just kind of stally.
Yeah, definitely. Just taunting the Skarmory and then the South Rock setting, and then a cat kind of sitting there with the Spore on Amoonguss and whatnot.
Yeah, with the Spore, though, ACAT was playing really weirdly with that. It actually made him look like he was predicting the wake-ups perfectly, but really, it felt like kind of a gamble at times, too, because he could have broken Sleep Claws with that, too.
Yeah, definitely. As well as what happened. And then, I feel like the misplay of the whole Rotom-O and Skarmory thing, where I think Skarmory had stayed in with the Rotom-O and kind of just instantaneously died.
Something like that.
Yeah, he kept Rotom Mo, or he kept excuse me. Eggcat kept Skarmory in against the Rotom Mo, which I don't know if he just didn't want to take a hit from something, but I really felt like he could have kept the Skarmory very easily.
Yeah. And of course, the notable thing with Eggcat is his little Sableye, which he was running his Attract variant this round.
Yep, Attract. Sometimes people never expect it, but it can always catch people off guard, too.
Yep, that poor Mega Blastoise couldn't get off a hit after it got attracted.
Yep.
But really...
And then... Sorry, go ahead.
No, you got it.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and then the Will-O-Wisp just to add on that damage and then the recover.
Yep, that's what Sableye does. But the real turning point came towards, I guess, 2/3 of the way through the battle, as Omega switched in the Tyranitar on the Umbreon. And predicting, I think, a Protect or whatever, Tyranitar went for a Dragon Dance.
Yep.
And at that point it was Rip Eggcat, because he was able to set up another Dragon Dance on the Umbreon as the Umbreon went for a Curse. And then the attack happened, Umbreon took the damage, went for payback. And then Omega predicted another Protect perfectly, went for a third Dragon Dance, and by that point it was completely over for Eggcat.
Yeah, Tyranitar is always fun to run with Dragon Dance, and it can really just get through everything. Like, the Tyranitar even got attracted at one point and had gotten Will-O-Wisp, but then the Lumberry came in, which really helped.
Yep.
The Tyranitar broke through the attract, and then, yeah, everything was just kind of over from that point.
Yep. One Tyranitar sweep later, and it's a 3-0 victory for Omega, keeping him undefeated.
Yeah. I mean, it's always good to be undefeated because you always are just on that kind of high momentum, and you're just like, as long as I keep playing the way I am right now and just kind of adapt to everything that kind of happens in the match, that's how you really win, is just how you adapt during a match.
Definitely. Yep, and Omega has kept up that momentum up to this point. I will give him credit though, he has been preparing very well for his battles. Like, I've seen some of his team prep before, and just the way he prepares for him, spot on.
Definitely. Like the Tyranitar, the whole thing, like I said, with learning to adapt is the whole Tyranitar and learning that the Umbreon had Protect and predicting it perfectly kind of just took it over the match.
Yep. Alright, and we'll move on to our final match for round 5, which was Crimson and the Arizona Arcanines versus Arctis and the Green Bay Pachirisus. To the battle, Crimson brought Rising Infernape, Togekiss, Tyrantrum, Flygon, Weavile, and his newly acquired Bronzong, while Arctis brought Mega Garchomp, Latias, Entei, Whimsicott, Magneton, and Rising Combuskin. Sorry, I had to go there.
Yeah, I kind of knew that was going to happen at one point. But, starting off, it was kind of just another one of those stally switch starts, which I kind of alluded to at the beginning of the whole video. Is a couple of matches just kind of like a cat, and the last match we talked about going into this one was just kind of predicting switches and kind of just that kind of start until the Flygon got the kill on the Magneton, and then Arctis kind of played around with his Rising Combuskin very well with the whole speed boost and predicting switches really well at that point.
Yep, he did exactly what Combuskin was meant to do, which is just pass off some speed boosts.
Yeah, which he kind of did, and he kept doing it to the Mega Garchomp, which, you know, Mega Garchomp's nothing to mess with, even with lowered speed. Passing the speed over basically makes up for what Garchomp loses when it Mega Evolves, which is a very nice play around, and it can very well help. And it kind of turned Arctis' momentum a little bit towards the beginning, too.
Yeah, definitely. Because Crimson recognized before the battle that Mega Garchomp was going to be a threat to his team.
Oh, yeah, Mega Garchomp's always a threat. Just that attack static, even without its Mega, and then going into its Mega is just ridiculous.
Definitely. But what ended up being Crimson's win condition, basically, was the Bronzong.
Yeah.
I mean, as you can see on the screen, Bronzong was able to pick up 4 kills, and we'll get to some of those in a minute. But I think at one point, what's-his-face, Arctis actually had his Whimsicott Stun Spore the Bronzong, which I will reveal that I helped Crimson team build a little bit before the match, and I told him that if there's any one Pokemon on his team that does not mind being paralyzed, it is that Bronzong, because it's slow anyway and it has Gyro Ball, so that's just only gonna make it stronger.
Exactly. Especially Bronzong, I used to use it way back when, if you know what Pokemon Shoddy is, I used to use a Bronzong on my team for that because just dual screens with Gyro Ball and my Earthquake and stuff like that, it can surprisingly pack a punch, but it plays its role very well, which, like we said, Bronzong's an amazing pickup.
Yep, definitely. And on Arctis' side, his main momentum gainer was Entei, as it was keeping Crimson on his toes more than the Garchomp, actually.
Yep.
But the biggest part of this battle came right at the very end, basically. It was the Entei versus the Bronzong. The Bronzong was able to take one Sacred Fire and then fire off an Earthquake, which did a good chunk to Entei. But then after that, the Entei actually missed a Sacred Fire, which left Arctis very salty, and I don't blame him at all for it.
Sacred miss.
Yep. At that point, it was just Entei and Whimsicott, and after the Entei missed the Sacred Fire, Bronzong killed her off. Then finally got a Parahack, so when the Whimsicott came back in. And then eventually the Bronzong was able to kill off the Whimsicott, and Crimson was able to pick up a 2-0 victory.
Yeah, nothing to be ashamed of, especially, like you said, you always play around. If you can recognize your win condition for the match and you try and play around it as much as you can, it'll be really, really nice. Like, the Bronzong brought the whole momentum back for Crimson, and it was a nice win on his part. Good job, Crimson.
Yep. And like I said, Arctis was a little bit salty after the battle, and to be honest, he did apologize for it, but I don't blame him, to be quite honest. Like, Sacred Fire is a 95% accurate move, and the one time it misses is the one time it really, really mattered for him.
Exactly. Sacred miss. I mean, but it's just RNG. Sometimes you get the way you want it to be, sometimes you just don't.
Yep, that's the game we play.
Yep.
Alright, and moving on to the standings, which had to be adjusted due to 15's disqualification. Yeah, losing my victory over 15 actually put me in second place, out of first place, sad face. But with the adjusted standings, after round 5, Omega and the Tyranitars are in first place with 4 wins, 0 losses, and a +10 differential. I was in second place with 3 wins, no losses, and a +14 differential. Crimson was in third with 3 wins, 1 loss, and a +4 differential. Zap, you were in fourth place at this point with 3 wins, 2 losses, and a +4 differential. Okay, then Arctis with 2 wins, 2 losses, and a +1 differential. Then came Meep, who originally battle pipped this round, but that battle was disqualified, thank God, because it was a Slurpuff sweep.
Yep.
Yep.
You and that Slurpuff.
Yep. For anyone that doesn't really know me, I hate Slurpuff with a passion, so no more of that. No more ever. Anyways, at this point, Meep had 2 wins, 3 losses, and a -7 differential. Then came Iron and the Nidokings, 1 win, 2 losses, and a -2 differential. Then came, ACAT and the Chatots with 1 win, 3 losses, and a 0 differential, actually. And then Lux, who was probably hurt the most from losing her result against Pip because she got a 5-0 against him. She was in second to last at this point with 1 win, 3 losses, and a -7 differential. And my poor cousin Rock and Liepard City in dead last, no wins, 5 losses, and a -21 differential.
Yeah. It can be really killer, but as I always say, it's never over until that final match is played, because you never know how your season can turn around.
Definitely. Yep, and the way the rest of the season plays out, I guess we'll just wait and see what happens.
Also, I think it goes worth mentioning that pretty much from here on out, like Burns said, it's only going to be probably about 4 matches per round. But how it goes is any match that Pip had played against anybody, or future rounds where after Pip was disqualified, whoever's supposed to face Pip in that certain round got another bye pretty much.
Yep.
So that's why it may seem a little bit odd with only 4 matches. It's just because whoever was supposed to play Pip that round got a bye instead.
Yep, that's exactly how it went. Alright, and I believe that is going to wrap up our Round 5 Season 1 SBL recap. You have anything else to say?
No, I think it was a pretty nice round. I can't wait to see who else and what else happens for the rest of the round and see who can turn around and who keeps on getting the positive momentum rolling.
Yeah, definitely. All right, and I guess that is all from us here, and I guess we will see you guys next time.
See you later.